If Donald Trump ever manifests his dream of annexing Canada, of course, he's going to claim he's liberating us. But wow, would we be in trouble. And let me tell you, the chances of him actually trying to do that are far more likely than most of us would believe. But more about that later. If he ever did find himself in charge here in Canada, first thing he's going to do is fire or imprison every leader we have and replace them all with his people, with his team. And I think he's got a good few Canadians who would be more than happy to help him. Today, we're going to talk about some Canadians who have shown themselves willing to bend over to Trump, to bow down to the Donald, and to do whatever he wants in order to stay in his good graces. I think that each one of them could well be in line for positions in a Trump-land North regime. And I'll be glad to tell you what I think about each one of them. Look, I'll start off with the great one, hockey superstar Wayne Gretzky. Then comes Mr. Wonderful, reality TV star Kevin O'Leary. Followed, of course, by Jordan Peterson, Canadian psychologist, author, and podcaster. We also have Danielle Smith, Premier Danielle Smith from Alberta, and right by her side is good old slogan master Pierre Poilievre. There's also a few people who are not as public in their support as the first five are. You've got Francois Poirier, who's the CEO and president of TC Corporation. That's TransCanada Corporation, like TransCanada Pipelines. That's megabucks, oil, energy, Calgary, pipelines. Then you've got media mogul Conrad Black. Yeah, the one that Trump pardoned. We'll get back to that later. Many may be surprised by Tobias Lütke, the founder and CEO of Shopify. Yeah, he's with Trump, and proud to be one of the tech bros, right up there with Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. He's shown no hesitation to bow down and do whatever Trump wants in order to move his company forward. Hey, the oligarchy rules. We're going to look at each of these people one at a time, but make sure you stay with me until the end, when we're going to decide whether or not this group deserves to have us ring the illustrious Game of Thrones-inspired Bell of Shame in their honor. And yeah, spoiler alert, of course we will. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of good stuff coming. Before we go further, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and post a comment. All that really helps and is really very much appreciated. Wayne Gretzky. What can I say? The man is a legend in Canada and to hockey fans around the world. Many consider him the best there ever was. Now, Trump has always had a habit of collecting sports celebrities and superstars. He loves to golf with them, stay there as pals, hang out with them. But it's become obvious that the relationship between Trump and Gretzky is much more than just a bromance. Here's a picture of Gretzky and his family, his wife, his daughter, his son, and his son-in-law at Trump's election night victory party in November 2024 at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump. And here's the thing. The day after that, Wayne's wife, Janet, posted the following message to Trump on her personal Instagram feed. Congratulations, Mr. President Donald J. Trump. You did it. You deserved it. You earned every bit of it. The world is a better place to have you as our leader. Proud to be an American. Thank you for being such a great friend. May God keep watching over you. Love, our family to yours. Now, that pretty much says it all. Terrence Thomas Kevin O'Leary, a.k.a. Mr. Wonderful. He got that name from the show Dragon's Den, and if any of you don't watch the show, they didn't call him Mr. Wonderful because he was such a great guy. The absolute opposite. It was said sarcastically, and they dubbed him that because he was such a son of a bitch, always giving everybody a hard time. Kevin can be defined as a man who the only thing he cares about is making money. Doesn't matter what he's got to say or what he's got to do. If he can make a buck, he will do it. He's pretty much a Trump wannabe. He tried politics, tried to run for the Conservative leadership in 2017, failed. Shortly after Trump became president, he went running down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss his ass big time. He's there. He's been investing over the years. He had his own mutual fund, which got deregistered and had some regulatory issues. He was a promoter for one of the biggest crypto scams, scandals, failures that there was. So why this man keeps getting credibility, I don't know. But comedically, he seems to put himself out there as a Trump defender. I don't really think he gives a damn about Trump. What he cares about is making money. And if Trump and his ideas and his rule and his favors can make him money, well, he's right in there. Jordan Peterson is a Canadian psychologist turned right-wing celebrity pundit whose career has morphed from lecturing on personality theory to ranting against what he sees as the radical left. He gained a lot of fame in 2016 for loudly opposing Canadian legislation that added gender identity to human rights protections. That fight vaulted him from little-known professor into a global culture war icon. He's now a favorite of Trump world, Canada's Maple MAGA movement, and seems to be a mainstay in the so-called manosphere. Peterson packages conservative talking points as deeply philosophical, railing against so-called postmodern neo-Marxism, a made-up enemy that he's never clearly defined. He preaches very strict gender roles, defends traditional hierarchies, and tells his mostly young male audience that progress is chaos. Behind the academic language is a very simple formula. Stoke fear of social change, sell it as truth, and call yourself a free speech martyr whenever you're challenged. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. She's been called Canada's Trump Barbie. And frankly, I think that name is appropriate. She took it upon herself to fly down to Mar-a-Lago and actually got one-on-one FaceTime with Donald Trump in January. And she tried to convince him to delay any tariffs on Canada until after federal election because it would help the Conservatives get elected, and that would be far better for him if they were in power than the Liberals. Yeah, okay. She's become a welcome guest of many American right-wing conservative pundits. This is a very ambitious woman. If you have a look at her Twitter page, you'll see well-curated posts, all there suggesting she would make a great Prime Minister of Canada, the first female Prime Minister of Canada. I think that's her ambition. That said, I'm pretty sure she'd be just as happy to be the first governor of the 51st state of the United States. Pierre Poilievre. Here's a man who in December had a 24-point lead in the polls and looked like he was destined to hold a majority government in Canada and lost it all. His party lost. He even lost his personal seat in Parliament. The reason for it is that Canadians overwhelmingly were convinced that he represented bringing Trumpism to Canada. Now, he's run around since then denying it, saying he has nothing to do with it. She's not for Trump. The Liberals, Kearney, they're for Trump. Aside from whether their policies are similar or not, the reality of it is his style, his technique, and his tactics are identical to Donald Trump. Anybody in Canada who supports Trump will vote for Pierre Poilievre. So, Pierre, you can't run away from it. You know that despite you trying to say anything you can to get elected, the reality of it is you represent a style and a form of government that emulates Donald Trump and his world. Francois Poirier was one of the Canadian business elite who were in Washington for Donald Trump's inauguration early in 2025. While there, along with Danielle Smith, he met with a number of members of Trump's administration, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and others. He's made it clear as a businessman he wants to build pipelines, and he's more than willing and more than able to work with Trump. No one else seems able to but he sure is. He's the kind of a businessman who has incredible influence on our political system, and we don't even realize it. Anyone from my generation is fully familiar with Conrad Black. He was a gold-plated member of the Canadian establishment, our very own media mogul. You know, as Rupert Murdoch and Fox are to the United States, Conrad Black was to Canada. He was it. He ran the media. He owned newspapers, TV stations, everything. He was given a number of awards, the Order of Canada and things like that. Along the way, he ran into trouble and ended up being charged in the United States with fraud, with business fraud, for a stipend of millions of dollars during the sale of his company. He ended up being convicted and sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. He ended up serving 3.5 of those years before an appeals court dismissed 2 of the 3 fraud charges, but still left one of the fraud charges standing, as well as the obstruction of justice charge guilty. When he got out of prison, he was expelled from the United States and banned and sent back to Canada. Along comes Donald Trump. After Trump was elected president, Conrad Black wrote a book, a best-selling book called Donald J. Trump, A President Like No Other. And he wrote several columns and articles about Trump, praising him as a great leader. So it doesn't come as a surprise to any of us that in 2019, Donald Trump gave a full pardon to Conrad Black. What can you say? The oligarchy look after the oligarchy. Was Trump's pardon because of the book that was written about him and the praise? Blowing smoke up his ass? Probably. Wouldn't surprise me at all, because it's very much in style with what Trump does. But when you look at allies of Trump in Canada, Conrad Black is definitely one of them. Now we come to Tobias Lütke, the founder and CEO of Canadian e-commerce giant Shopify. I got to tell you, I take this one personally, because I've been a developer, a customer, and a promoter of Shopify for the past 15 years. Really, back to when they were just getting started. If you buy or sell anything online through the internet these days, there's a very good chance that you're dealing with a store that's powered by the platform that Lütke and his company developed and marketed to the world. Like many Canadians, I took great pride in the fact that it was a Canadian company that was dominating this new, exciting e-commerce marketplace out there. But I gotta tell you, massive disappointment. Shopify was always known for actively promoting diversity and freedom of speech. But somehow, that all seemed to change with Trump's re-election last year. Apparently, they've either changed dramatically, or it was all a cover-up and a scam to begin with. I don't know which. As soon as Trump took office for his second term, policies started to change direction at Shopify. It was a turning point for the company. First, they shut down their 4-year-old support program for Indigenous entrepreneurs. At the same time, members of Shopify's equitable commerce team all left the company. No explanation, no reason why. Just a few days later, Shopify shuttered a similar program, its very ambitious 1 Million Black Businesses Initiative, which was intended to help millions of Black-owned businesses in Canada and the United States launch, grow, and scale up by 2030. In February, Shopify abruptly shut down the Slack channels that enabled all these programs, and the participants have just been left abandoned and adrift. It's all gone. Lütke has shifted towards extreme right-wing politics. He's involved in it being just another Trump-supporting tech bro. And I'm not the only one who's disappointed and shocked. In February, a group of 400 Canadian tech leaders signed and published an open letter condemning Shopify for changes and cutbacks.
Well, there you have it. 8 well-known or influential Canadians who Donald Trump probably thinks of as allies. You know, I have to tell you, when I see what Trump is doing day after day, and it just gets worse, this is no longer a matter of politics. It's a matter of morals. And I don't think it's good enough to stand on the sidelines. I think you have to actively oppose Trump and everything he's doing. Now, for these people who do much more than being on the sidelines, they are, one way or the other, enabling Trump and his activities and his actions and what he's doing. I can only say that you should be ashamed of yourselves. And here is the Game of Thrones inspired bell of shame for each one of you.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Thank you so much for watching this video, especially if you stayed until the end. If you liked it or didn't like it, let me know in the comments. My name's Nick, and this channel is Beyond America, Canada Looking South. I've had the channel for about a year. It's got fairly well. I've got 3 million views, just under 40,000 subscribers. Making these videos is an awful lot of work, and I would appreciate your help. If you enjoy this content, please like the video. Please make a comment. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe. You can also help by sharing my channel or any of my videos to your various social media platforms. Thank you very much, and you have yourself a great week. Here are a few other videos that you might enjoy.